First, in the name of the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all of his government statements and actions?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Yes, and especially our actions to go for growth. Wasn't it absolutely great news last week to see Stats New Zealand confirm that the economy grew by 0.7% to finish 2024, with the first increase to GDP per capita in 2 years? We know that growth matters on this side of the House, and more growth means more jobs, higher wages, more opportunities for all New Zealanders to beat the cost of living and to get ahead. And that's why just in the last 2 weeks we've been at it hard, fighting hard for trade in India, making sure we're taking action to scrap and replace the RMA, and hosting investors worth trillions of dollars here in New Zealand so that we can build the roads, energy and homes Kiwis need to thrive. There's always more to do, but it's very exciting to say that growth is back, and I'm sure that member in a bipartisan way would fully support and endorse those comments.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. Does he agree with the statement made by Christopher Luxon in September 2023 with regard to the school lunches program, quote, "We're very supportive of it. I just want to make sure that I'm sure it can be improved. I'm sure it can be optimised. I'm sure it can be enhanced." If so, is he confident that the school lunches program has been improved, optimised and enhanced under his government?
Yes, the free lunch program is there so that hungry kids going to school can actually focus and get something to eat so they can learn. There's been some practical issues which the Minister's working his way through very well. And again, I'd just say I think it's fantastic that savings have been generated, and those savings can be generated back into health and education to help support our kids.
Supplementary question. Why did the government select Labelle and Compass to deliver the school lunches program, given Labelle had lost nearly 60% of the schools it had been serving under the old program due to quality concerns, and Compass had lost 23 of the 53 schools that it was serving?
There was a standard procurement process, but if the member wants to direct more specific questions, feel free to direct it to the Minister.
So why did the government...
Just a minute. If questions are serious enough to be answered, they should be listened to by and large quite seriously. The Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Why did the government ignore official advice that Compass had failed to meet the nutritional standards required in more than half of the assessments of its meals under the previous program, and had prolonged issues with undersized meals and inconsistent portioning, while Labelle had been the subject of 163 complaints about food quality, food safety and food suitability?
I think the member would understand that I don't have that detail in front of me around a procurement process, but I would encourage him to put his question on notice.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
The Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Good to see he's awake, though. Does he agree with the statement of Christopher Luxon in August 2023 with regard to the school lunches that a government led by him would, quote, "make sure we get better delivery and better execution"? If so, why did they award the exclusive contract to deliver school lunches to Labelle and Compass, who had amongst the highest rates of uneaten lunches and food waste in the previous program, almost double the average?
Well, again, I was to say to the member, I'm not party to the details of a procurement process. If he wants to put his detailed questions on notice, feel free to do so. But, this is a program that has been able to generate savings that can be redirected back into health and education. Yep, there's some practical issues. The Minister's working his way through them.
Supplementary question. Why didn't David Seymour bother to tell the Minister of Education that the major provider of school lunches, Labelle, was going into liquidation, given he found out 5 days before it happened, yet the Minister was left to find out about that through the media after it happened?
Well, again, I'm very comfortable with the delegations and the accountabilities that we have between our ministers. The Minister, the Associate Minister and I talk all the time. We've talked about the school lunches, we've talked about many other things as well. I'm comfortable with it.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Does he agree with the statement of Christopher Luxon in September 2023, quote, "I'd work harder on education to make sure we give people healthier choices in the school lunch program," end quote? If so, why is the nutritional value of school lunches now being provided consistently lower than under the previous school lunches program that his government scrapped?
I agree that we are working harder on education, because I remember who was the Minister of Education when kids stopped going to school. when half our year 8s are not at the standard they need to be at on reading, and 80% of our kids going into high school are not where they need to be at on mathematics. Who was the minister for 5.5 years?
The Honourable David Singh.
Is the Prime Minister aware that last week, the Healthy School Lunch programme delivered 99.8% on-time delivery and surplus meals of 5.7% compared with 9% surplus last year? And is he then surprised to hear feedback from a teacher just last night, quote, "The meals are varied, wholesome, and in my opinion, and that of the majority of my class, far more filling than last year. They are a meal!" Exclamation mark.
That was more an advertorial than a question, but I'll take it.
Can I just thank the Minister for his hard work in working through the issue so well?
Mr. Speaker, does he agree with Christopher Luxon's statement in July 2023, quote, "I'm not interested in how much money is being spent. I'm interested in the results that are being achieved," end quote. If so, is his spending less, achieving better outcomes so far?
What we're impressed about is that we're getting more value for money, and the money that's being saved is going into education and health for our kids, and the issues that are being worked through are being worked through.
The Honourable David